Now to a Waters World exclusive investigation into Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The freshman firebrand and her chief of staff already accused of funneling nearly $1 million in campaign contributions to a business in order to avoid campaign finance laws. And now she's facing possible ethics violations regarding her Twitter account and is accused of being a green hypocrite. Joining me now to break it all down, President of American Commitment, Phil Kerpen. All right, Phil, let's begin with the campaign finance violation. They're calling this a possible felony. Her, I guess, campaign manager was playing loose with a bunch of cash, $1 million. Is she in trouble for this, possibly?
Well, she's certainly in trouble. The question is how much trouble. We know at a minimum there are reporting violations because almost the entire back office campaign operation was outsourced to a vendor called Brand New Congress, LLC, in a storefront in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the disclosure on her campaign report just says strategic consulting, even though they were doing obviously much more than that. We don't know if any of the money was diverted or embezzled or stolen, but even if it was all used on legitimate campaign expenses, there's almost certainly a reporting violation here. The much bigger problem and the potential...
A reporting violation? I think that's what they tried to impeach President Donald Trump for the reporting violation with Stormy Daniels. Let me just show you what a former FEC official had to say about this alleged crime. Go ahead.
I've never seen this kind of setup. Knowing in willful violations of the Federal Election Campaign Act, there's no accounting for what it did with over $2 million. It made $62,000 in contributions to candidates, nothing in independent expenditures. What did it do with all this money? Either it seemed to disappear into the pockets of Chakrabarti, or they used it to assist campaigns without reporting it, which would be, major.
Yeah, I want to again.
All right, and now the freshman congressman is in trouble potentially for her Twitter use. They're saying she's breaking all sorts of rules as a member of Congress. What rules is she breaking on Twitter, AOC?
Well, she's linking between her official taxpayer-funded account and her campaign account. So she's essentially using tax dollars from her official office budget to promote her campaign, and that's forbidden.
Yeah, that's a big no-no. Now, something that got a lot of attention also, she's into the Green New Deal. She wants to get rid of air travel and cows and, all sorts of fossil fuels and all that. It looks like, though, she's not living too green personally, right? Like, she never takes the subway. She never takes the train. She's always, around in SUVs and airplanes. What's going on there?
Well, it's interesting, right, because she wants to have all of us everywhere forced to take trains, not to have cars, not to have planes. She lives in New York City, literally the only place in America where it's actually convenient to take mass transit to get where you're going. And she's going back and forth between Washington and New York, literally the only two places, maybe Boston also, that it makes sense to take a train instead of a plane. But she never takes the train. She takes the plane every time. And she seems to almost never take the subway. She had a massive number of Uber and Lyft receipts and cabs, all that kind of stuff on her campaign reports.
Yeah, now I think one of the Greenpeace guys called her a total joke because, she's spouting all this stuff. She doesn't even recycle or use compost, or she got caught throwing away a bunch of plastic bags. Here's her reacting to the plastic bag gaffe. Watch this.
I can be upset that I get 10 plastic bags at the grocery store and then have to toss out my plastic bags because the recycling program in the area is tough, and that's okay.
All right, Earth to EOC, you can bring one of those little
You take them right back to the store. Yeah. Take them right back to the store, they'll recycle for you.
Those things around all the time from Whole Foods. All right, Phil, nice report. I got to run. Thank you very much.
We've got some interesting new information tonight about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. When she ran for office last year, she described herself as an enemy of big money in politics. Watch.
This really speaks to the corrupting force of money in politics in general, and this problem is not going to go away until we tighten the reins on the role of money in politics. I really hope that we really introduce and pass very strong legislation that's going to put much stronger limits on how special interests and how money can be moved, especially when they interface with campaigns.
Yeah. She doesn't like when money moves and interfaces with campaigns. Of course, Ocasio-Cortez is also a sworn enemy of carbon. But that didn't stop her from taking hundreds of Uber rides when the subway was just a few feet away. She may feel the same way about money. For you, but not for her. A new FEC complaint accuses Ocasio-Cortez's chief of staff of diverting $1 million in donations into private accounts, apparently to obscure how that money was used. If true, the complaint could result in prison time. Ocasio-Cortez was confronted about this allegation today, and here's what she said.
There is no violation, so there's no violation.
Do you think that's a sign of you taking dark money?
Oh, no. I'm 100% people-funded. Thank you.
She's people-funded, she wants you to know. Speaking of people-funded, Melissa Francis, who hosts Outnumbered, also one of our all-time favorite people on Fox Business, joins us tonight for an update on this story. Hey, Melissa.
Hey, Tucker. So here's what this really boils down to in my mind. So it should be noted that the group that brought the complaint to the FEC is a right-leaning organization. We want to say that up front. But if you boil it down, basically what she and her chief of staff are accused of doing is moving almost $1 million from a PAC fund that they controlled over to an LLC, a limited liability corporation that they controlled. So were I her, I would ask this gentleman in the photo here, who is a multi-millionaire, tech and finance smart guy who's running her campaign, I would say, hey, why am I moving this money, these donations that were made to me from this PAC over to this other account that I control? I control them both. Why move it? What difference does it make?
Yeah.
Well, one difference could be, look at the rules that govern both. And the rules that govern a PAC are very clear and much more strict about how much you can spend, where it came from, what you have to disclose, how you list things. When it's an LLC, a limited liability corporation, the rules are very different, much lighter. And she marked a lot of stuff strategic consulting. And you can do that rather than itemizing things. Now, is this illegal? I don't know. Both sides are going to have their arguments in court about this, no doubt. And by the way, the rules that govern campaign finance are written by the very people in power who are trying to hold on to it. So talk about the fox guarding the henhouse. So the people who wrote these rules that she's saying, we're going to rewrite the rules, more people who have come to power and are trying to hang on to it. So is this legal under the rules? I don't know. We have people saying it's not. Both sides will argue and we'll see. But what's interesting is you just have to ask yourself, why did you need to move it from one thing you control totally to another thing you control totally in order to make the expenditures? It sounds like that dark money that she's talking about, but we will see when they investigate.
Well, quickly, the fact that we don't know anything about it, the fact that it's not itemized, doesn't that, by definition, make it dark money, or at least opaque money?
It doesn't make it bright money. It doesn't make it transparent money. It makes it obscured money. At the very least, it is obscured. There is not a bright light shining on it. But Tucker, you made the point before. Think about what socialism is. Like, the very definition is a government takeover the means of production. It's a power grab.
Yes.
That's what she's been all about, is a power grab. I'm in charge. I'm the boss. We go to Washington, we decide, we get the means of production, we get control, and we tell you all what you get. It all has the same theme if you boil it down to its most basic sense. So she doesn't want other people using planes, but she'll use a plane going back and forth between D.C. and New York because she's important. It means she's the ruling class. She's powerful.
Exactly.
She's important. So she gets to do these things. But for you and me, we're just, the serfs along the way. So we shouldn't, have a carbon footprint. We shouldn't do all these other things. And I think
will see you on the bus, Melissa Francis. They have Wi-Fi.
I
so
love
don't
the
complain.
bus. I love the subway, the Q train. It's right by my apartment. I'll see you there.
Melissa Francis, one of the best.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much.
All eyes on the Capitol as we await Robert Mueller's highly anticipated report on the Russia probe. Could it be coming out today?
We'll see. But will the left accept the report if Robert Mueller finds no Trump-Russia collusion?
All right, let's ask Republican ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee and California Congressman Devin Nunes. Let's talk about another California congressman. It turns out Michael Cohen, who's dominated the scene for the last 2 weeks, according to our own Catherine Herridge, has met 4 times for a total of 12 hours with one-on-one with Adam Schiff. Were you aware of that? Aren't you supposed to be told about this, meeting with a witness before they testify?
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be shocking, right? I mean, they continued to do this. They met with Cohen. They clearly were trying to devise how they're going to roll out a new narrative. So the last 2 weeks was all about rolling out a new narrative. And despite, I think the major issue, despite all of that, they still came out with a fake news story that's now been debunked. Somehow that his testimony was changed, that was before Congress by Trump's lawyers. That's what the media went with. That was the narrative, but it ended up being a fake news story. So, no matter how much witness tampering you do, you're not going to find collusion in this unless you talk about the collusion that the Democratic Party and the Clinton campaign were doing with Russians.
Are you suggesting that there was witness tampering?
Well, probably not in a legal sense because, we're Congress, we're the legislative branch, right. So there's nothing illegal about talking to witnesses beforehand. But if you're running a real investigation, the way you would do it is Republican and Democrat lawyers would meet with the lawyers of whoever is going to testify. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it sounds like they were just meeting with the witness himself. And this is, not a serious investigation, which it hasn't been since the beginning of this year.
John Brennan is predicting more indictments from special counsel Robert Mueller in this Russia probe, and he says some of them could involve President Trump's family members. Do you predict that?
I would find that hard to believe.
Why?
Well, look, what you're really looking at here is collusion, right? The whole point of this Mueller investigation was there collusion or not? And I've joked about this many times before, but it's like this mythical creature that's out there running around somewhere around the Capitol. You've got, dozens and dozens of reporters who spend all day looking for this mythical creature. The Democrats, they prance out a new mythical creature every day. The press follows it. But the reality is, even in the Mueller indictments, they make all these indictments read like something that's really going to be serious. This is really the collusion evidence, when the reality is the collusion is right in front of us, right? And look, there were prosecutors on Mueller's team, and even today, that are still there. Supposedly, right. I don't know if they're still meeting or not, but remember, these guys were meeting with the Democrats. They were taking in this Steele dossier, which was the dirt. So these guys were involved in this the whole time. They're part of it. The Mueller team is part of the collusion. So they were taking information that supposedly came directly from Russians.
Well, let's see what happens. Devin Nunes from California, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to be with you.